Hey guys, it's Yao here, joining the content creation community. I didn't want to do anything too serious and I didn't want to do anything too shitposting, so I did something in the middle. I'm going to cash in on the whole tier list trend right now and try to put every card in specific archetypes into a tier list. Um, and as you know, most tier lists are very subjective, but I'm going to try and be as objective as I can be. I'll explain my rationale on why I think every card goes where. Feel free to disagree with me. If you do, chances are it just means you're not very good at the game. I'm kidding. By that, I mean, yeah, feel free to disagree with me. Let me know your thoughts where you would place cards. I might be too conservative with some cards and too aggressive on other cards, and I might have missed some interaction or something. So please let me know your opinions, and we can go from there. So today we're gonna try and put the Burning Abyss cards into a tier list. I'm gonna first describe each tier and what I think they mean. S tier are the cards which are like really good and basically game breaking levels of good. Like they're very essential cards. A tier are cards that are very good. They're not game breaking, but they're still very good cards. B tier are cards which are good. They fill a niche or they have a role in the deck, but they're not very like as powerful as A tier cards. C tier cards are cards which I think have been played to some capacity or have capacity for some sort of play. And D are cards that are just unplayable or saw no competitive play. And as you know, a lot of cards will like be in the middle somewhere, and I'll explain when those cards come along. Like some cards will be like low S, high A, or like high B, low A, something like that. And yeah, I'll justify where I'm putting every card. It's very difficult, some cards. But yeah, let's begin with Alec. Alec's a very good example of a B tier card. Okay, so I should probably explain that when I do evaluate the cards, I'm going to evaluate them in their prime. Otherwise, it just wouldn't be fair. If a card saw play and then it stops seeing play afterwards because of overall power creep or change in deck building, I'm going to evaluate it based on when it saw play. So Alec was a really good card in the early days of Burning Abyss. It wasn't as strong as any of the first few, but it was definitely very powerful in that it can negate effects when it was sent to graveyard. So you can discard it off like a Karma Cut or a Phoenix Wing Wind Blast and then negate a monster effect as well. One of the more notable interactions are when you detach it off your Acid Golem to negate the Acid Golem so it can attack, and then you put a Downed Magician on top. You can send it off Dante Pilgrim as a spell speed 2 effect to be able to negate an effect as well. It's quite a few cool things you can do with it. Solid B tier card. Barber, on the other hand, is an A tier card. It was very powerful later on. It had 1700 attack, so it can bump with Denko, which was huge. Otherwise, it pushed for a lot of damage early mid game, and towards the end game, it clocked your opponent because you would just start getting rid of all your names and converting them to like 900 points damage every turn. Yeah, so you can actually win off a lot of games or like win in times, stuff like that. Beatrice is it's not a Burning Abyss card, but it's a Burning Abyss archetype. It's an S tier card, both in the deck and outside the Burning Abyss deck. So there are decks which are designed to summon Beatrice, like hard summon Beatrice using like Malicious and Primitive Butterfly. Beatrice is a very powerful card because it sends cards from the deck to the graveyard, and that breaks the rules of the game. So cards that break the rule of the game should be closely watched, and Beatrice is definitely one of them. What do I mean by breaking the games? Like in the rulebook, every rule is there for a reason, and it's there to balance the game. And anything that breaks the rule of the game are usually weak or they're closely monitored, such as like something simple would be like a monster has to destroy all your opponent's. You have to destroy all your opponent's monsters before you can attack directly. So every monster that can bypass and attack directly through monsters are traditionally just very weak. I guess we did have some issues with like Borbo sometimes, where the Zodiac archetype was so strong that Borbo can sometimes just attack for game. But every other monster that attacks directly is generally really bad. Same as monsters, the fact that monsters can only attack once a turn, so any monster that can attack multiple times per turn were either hard to summon or very closely watched as well. Such as BLS ended games because it could attack twice, Megalo ended games too quickly because it could attack twice. Trapeze Magician caused games to end quickly because it could attack twice. Now going back to Beatrice, sending cards from the deck to your graveyard is breaking the game because cards were designed to go from the deck to the hand, then the hand to the field, and then the field to graveyard. And when you can skip like 3 of those steps, it's definitely very powerful. So you have cards like Painful Choice, which is banned. You have Armageddon Knight and Dark Raphael, which are limited. Card Trooper was limited for the longest time. And Scrap Recycle is being abused in a lot of decks right now. Tuning was really good. So just cards which send like. So whenever a card's announced, the first question we ask is how do we abuse that? And the second question we ask is how do I get that to the graveyard so I can add it back to my hand or use it from the graveyard? And that's just how Yu-Gi-Oh always is. And Beatrice is able to do that. It's got 2800 defense as well, so it was very difficult to get rid of. It also floated when it was destroyed into either Dante Pilgrim or a Virgil. So it was very difficult to remove without them summoning another monster, and it's very powerful and they can send anything as a spell speed 2 effect. Next you have Kagna. Kagna's a C tier card. So all Burning Abyss cards are playable by default because they're all just names that you can special summon and make Dante with. Kagna's effect when it's in the graveyard is you can send a spell or trap card from your deck to the graveyard, Burning Abyss spell or trap card, and usually you just pair it with Good and Evil. That would just be a cute 2 card interaction that was used in early days of BA. It wasn't amazing, but it wasn't bad either. Yeah. Calcab is like Alec's brother. They came out together. Some lists played 2 Alec, 1 Calcab. Some played 2 Calcab, 1 Alec. Either way, you played like some combination of these 2. The Calcab's effect is that it sends a set spell or trap to the owner's hand. Sometimes you sniped something good, sometimes you didn't. Either way, it was decent. You never really had problems playing him back then. Cherubini is an interesting one. It has an S tier effect, but it's an A tier card because it was released too late relative to when the OCG got it. It's a very powerful card. It still sees a lot of play in the Burning Abyss rock decks and even like rank 3 Link summon decks. With Dandelion gone, its power is a lot weaker, but it can send a lot of powerful cards like Venus Rhino Warrior and stuff as well. Seer. Seer's a S tier card. Seer and Dante was ridiculous and what made the deck live for so long. Because it could summon back Dante and Dante just adds back the Seer and you kind of have an infinite loop kind of going. But Seer's at 1 now makes it a lot harder, especially if it gets removed from the game. But still a very powerful card. 1600 attack. Yeah. You have Dante Pilgrim. Dante Pilgrim was only really just summoned off Beatrice. It's got 2000 attack, can't be targeted. And during either player's turn, you can discard a Burning Abyss card to draw a card. I think you discard a Burning Abyss monster to draw a card. Not entirely sure. Let me just check. Yeah, discard send a Burning Abyss card from your hand to graveyard and draw a card. When this card's destroyed by battle card effect, when it's destroyed by battle, you get to discard a card from your opponent's hand. Or send to graveyard by your opponent's card effect. I think one really cool interaction in the mirror was that if you summoned this and you played Phantom Knight Wings on it, your opponent realistically just couldn't kill it, ever. But beyond that, it wasn't like too spectacular. You only ever played it because of Beatrice. Dante's an S tier card. Same reason Beatrice is. It sends 3 cards from your deck to the graveyard. You trigger up to 3 effects. When you summon it, and you send 3, it goes to 2500 attack. You usually take out a monster with it. Then it would go to 2500 defense, which was really hard for them to get rid of. And then when it sent to the graveyard, you get to add a Burning Abyss monster from your graveyard to your hand, which is pretty strong. There's not much to say. It makes up the deck. It was what kept the deck going. Yeah. Dragich is a C tier card. So its effect was when it's sent to graveyard, you can put a Burning Abyss card from your deck to the top of the deck. So you basically get to control what you're going to send next off Dante. It wasn't very good, but it still saw play as a name. Yeah. Farfar's an A tier card. Often sent it off Beatrice to banish problematic cards. Very powerful. It's got 1900 defense, which sometimes was relevant. But yeah, getting rid of problematic monsters was good. Getting rid of monsters temporarily so you could push for damage was good. And just disrupting strategies was good. Next you have Fire Lake. Fire Lake, very powerful card when it was played. You send 2 Burning Abyss monsters from your field to graveyard to destroy up to 3 cards on the field. Very powerful. Made the Clearfoot and Satellite Knight matchups very easy because you could just pick off all the back row and then you paired it with Traveler to get all your monsters back. Even if you didn't, it was just great value because you would trigger all your Burning Abyss effects as well. Next you have good and evil. It's paired with Kagnar, so its effect. It's a ritual summons the Malakota, which never comes up, but its effect is you can banish it from the graveyard, except the turn of a Center graveyard, discard a Burning Abyss card, and then add a Burning Abyss monster from your deck to your hand. It's a cute pair with that. They eventually got cut from the deck. They weren't great, but they weren't awful either. Graph, S tier card for sure. It's a great opener. You want to see this all the time in your opening hand. Becomes every other Burning Abyss. Becomes Seer, most importantly. Becomes Scum. Anything you need. Yeah, after that, it wasn't as good as Seer, but it was still really powerful. Libic's an A tier card. Libic got better as Burning Abyss got weaker, actually, because you started playing more non-BA cards in your deck, such as like Psychic Wielder, Mathematician, the Seahorse card that you played in Salamangreat. It's a bunch of level 3s that you need to use to make Dante with, and when that goes to graveyard, you special summon a Burning Abyss from your hand and negate its effects. Next you have Malakota. Never saw play, wouldn't see why it would see play. Its effect is like you discard a Burning Abyss monster and then you target one of your opponent's monster and lose attack and defense equal to the attack and defense of the monster you discarded. It's too hard to summon. It comes in Ghost Rare, which is pretty cool, so it does. It's kind of expensive as a Ghost Rare. Next you have Rubik. Rubik was a tuner with no other effect. It's 2100 defense, special summon itself like every other BA. It was actually pretty good, but I don't think it was an A tier good. It might be A tier, like low A tier, high B tier, where you'd summon it to make Virgil. Yeah, Virgil was really good at out-deposing Dante's, it out-constructs, but outside of that, it didn't have too much utility. It didn't have like a discard effect. Yeah. Skarm's an A tier card. Skarm during the end phase was such as any fiend, including like Tour Guide. I believe it was like level 3 fiends or something. Yeah, it becomes Tour Guide, becomes everything, but it wasn't immediate, so it's not like as broken as these four. It's still a very good card nonetheless. The problem with Scum is that you have the potential to forget its effects. Not that you should, but you could. And I'm sure it's happened to a lot of people, and people to this day have been figuring out ways to not forget the Scum effect. So, yeah. Definitely a really good card. It's like, definitely like low S, high A. Along with Cherubini, right? These two cards are like better than these four. This one you have Terminus, its fusion spell, summons Dante Pilgrim, which you never summoned anyway. Other effect is you banish from the graveyard and you target when you're burning this monster gets 800 attack and defense until the end of your opponent's next turn or something. Also never comes up. And when it would come out, we had Phantom Knight, like Sword, if you wanted an 800 attack boost. Traveler was really good. Traveler summoned, you target any number of Burning Abyss monsters which were sent to the graveyard that turn, and you special summon them. So you often pet them with these for a soul charge, or just like on a turn where a bunch of you guys got sent to graveyard, you just summon them all back. So much value. It's like soul charge on a trap card. Very powerful. Virgil was an A tier card. Virgil, like I said before, it outs Dante, it outs constructs without triggering their effects. It pushes for damage. It can also return graveyard cards to the deck as well, which is really good. Yeah, so that's Burning Abyss. Burning Abyss as a whole was an S tier archetype. It was very resilient. It's at least in like 2014, and I guess it was the start of a new age of Yu-Gi-Oh! Where people stopped playing cards in the deck just because they were good. Or like Burning Abyss was like one of the last decks which played cards in the deck just that were just good. Like cards like Bottomless, Dimensional Prison, those cards stopped seeing play at around 2014. And then Burning Abyss would still play like Karma Card and Phoenix Wind Blast because it synergized with the deck. But then after that, like no decks really played cards just because they were good. Every card you put in your deck after 2014 was either engine or a hand trap or a way to win the game, right? So, something like that. It was released alongside Shaddoll. It even paired with Shaddoll for a really fun Shaddoll BA deck that was really powerful. And then alongside Cleveland Satellum Knight, it made up the Yu-Gi-Oh! Square. It's not a triangle, it's a square. Burning Abyss was definitely one of the more powerful decks up there. It was able to handle most matchups. It struggled against Shaddoll, but that still wasn't completely unwinnable. Come 2015, Necros was released, and that was very powerful when Necros was at full power, but after the nerfs, Burning Abyss was able to take them on. And I think in the World Championship qualifier season, it was retroactively considered the better deck. End of 2015, Cosmo and Pendulum came out. Cosmo was a very tough matchup because all their monsters were like 3000 attack and untargetable, but Burning Abyss was still able to grind them out. Pendulum deck was also very difficult to grind them out, especially in 2016 when the full power Pepe deck was released. Burning Abyss just got relegated to the binder because it wasn't able to take them on. But after Pendulum got nerfed, it definitely became a deck again, especially because that was around when Phantom Knights was released. Yeah, Cosmo was still a deck, and Monarch was a deck. Now, the Domain Monarch matchup was kind of tough. Both Monarch matchups were kind of tough, but they weren't unwinnable. And then come WCQ season, there was like the Pendulum deck, the Fire King Cosmo, Demise Cosmo. There was Domain Monarch, there was Extra Deck Monarch, and Burning Abyss was definitely one of the best decks still. It was very resilient. It's paired with the Phantom Knights and Beatrice. End of 2016, there was a Blue Eyes White Dragon deck, which specifically had 3000 defense monsters negating graveyard effects. So it was, again, very tough for Burning Abyss, but they were still able to grind it out. It wasn't unwinnable. Come 2017, the Zodiac deck was released, and this was when Burning Abyss started seeing its big decline. It wasn't able to keep up with these new decks. Zodiac was far too powerful for it, even though it got Grass is Greener. Yeah. It couldn't keep up with Paleos either. And then it definitely couldn't keep up with True Dracos. Come 2018, Master Rule 4 was in effect. You couldn't make multiple Dantes easily, so Burning Abyss was definitely being relegated to the binder now. But end of 2018, where there was the 200th YCs where Burning Abyss came second because they summoned the Kaijus and then they summoned Trisbana to banish all your opponent's back row. It's very powerful when it's unknown. 2019, it's mostly just a fun deck that you play with the Rock Engine to summon a bunch of monsters like Appaloosa, Najuri Beast, stuff like that. It's not very good, but it's definitely a lot of fun. But yeah, but Burning Abyss was definitely a very resilient archetype. You could have bought a deck in 2014 and won like every event leading up to like 2018, 2019. And you're still like a solid rogue deck right now. People still play it because they love the deck. Yeah, so that was Burning Abyss. Let me know what you think about my tier list. Where would you rate the cards? Where do you disagree with me? What archetype you want me to do next? And I'll discuss with you later. Thank you guys for watching.